You know what this is? Well, you say it's a hammer. Yeah, it's a hammer, but it's a special kind of hammer. It's a roofing hammer. To tell you the truth, I don't even know why I own it because roofing is something that is not on my list of things to do. I hate roofing. I don't think there's a harder job in the whole world than roofing. You go down the street and you see these guys up on the roof hauling those heavy asphalt shingles and working up there in the heat of the day, and man, I'm glad I'm not up there. To me, it's got to be one of the hardest jobs in the world. But I'm glad somebody does it because around our part of the country, we got to have a roof once in a while because we get the hail and it kind of tears things up. But then they come, and sometimes, usually, as a matter of fact, they'll start early in the morning when it's cooler. That's understandable. Maybe you're not even out of bed yet, just right at the crack of dawn, and all of a sudden you hear this noise up on your roof, and it ain't Santa Claus. And they're pounding and ripping the old shingles off and making all kinds of noise up there on the roof because you got to take the old roof off in order to put the new one on. Well, there was a man in Jesus' day who was paralyzed, and Jesus was in town in Capernaum, and he was teaching and ministering to people at a house. Probably, likely, it was Simon Peter's house. And so this man's friends brought him to Jesus to be healed. But they couldn't get in the house because the people were all packed in and they're spilling out the door. They couldn't get through the crowd to bring this man on this cot to Jesus. So they went up on the roof. Now the roofs were flat, and there was a stairway on the side, usually those houses that went up to the top of the roof. But they went up on that roof, and they proceeded to tear the roof apart to make a hole in it so they could get this man to Jesus. Can you imagine what, if it was Simon Peter or whoever the owner of the house was, what he must have thought? What are you guys doing? Tearing up my roof. What an amazing thing for the people to see that all of a sudden Jesus is teaching away there, and all of a sudden all this noise and little bits of stuff comes floating down, and what is this? And they look up and there's this hole being made in the roof, and they're, what is going on? And pretty soon here comes this cot being lowered down right in front of Jesus with this paralyzed man on it. What a sight to behold. That's an amazing story. I love it. Well, the upshot of it was that Jesus healed the man. And verse 12 of Mark's Gospel, chapter 2, says that he rose and immediately picked up his bed and went out before them all, just like Jesus said, pick up your bed and go home. So he did. He rose and immediately picked up his bed and he went out in front of them all, so that they were all amazed and glorified God. And they said, we've never seen anything like this. No, I'll bet they hadn't. Never seen anything like that. It took a torn up roof to bring healing to this man. And there's a spiritual lesson there for us, isn't there? Sometimes God wants to do something really great in our life. Sometimes we need to be touched by him in a special way. But the only way that that can happen is that maybe there's some things that need to be torn up or torn down or taken apart before we can get to that place where we can receive what God has for us. So we shouldn't become discouraged when things are going bad, and when we just wonder what's happening in our life, things seem to be so torn up. We shouldn't be discouraged. At that point, we should be looking for what God wants to do in our life in a miraculous way. How he wants to touch us in a way that we can't even begin to imagine. Because he's not there to destroy you. He's not going to destroy you. He's not there to just beat you down. If you're having a difficult time and you're struggling in your life, then God is right there to give you the miracle that you need in your life if you will look to him and trust him for it. Can you do that today? Can you trust him in a way that maybe you've never had before? Through the midst of your difficulty and struggle, say, God, what is it that you're doing in my life that you want to touch me in a very special way? Whatever it takes, God. If this trial, if this struggle is leading, if this is my roof being torn apart so I can be Lord for you to touch my life, then so be it. I want you to touch my life more than anything else. And I'm open to you for you to work in my life however you deem necessary. Begin to look around. Begin to look for God working in your life, that miracle that you need today. Just like that man being lowered down. What an amazing sight that was. That's a wonderful story. Can you imagine how that man must have felt as he was being lowered down in front of Jesus, and Jesus seeing him there and then telling him, you take your bed, get up from there, and go home. They'd never seen anything like that before, and maybe you've never seen anything like that before in your life, but God wants to do it for you if you will look to him and trust him.